everyone. My name is Paula Camperman. I'm the Outreach Program Manager for the Bennington County Solid Waste Alliance. And I'm joined today, of course, by Lisa Byard. Today we're going to do some trash talk again, another segment. And today we're going to cover what goes in the recycling bin at curbside or at your transfer station when you're bringing your items for drop-off. So we're going to go over just a little bit of a basic primer, but also talk about changes, because as materials come and go into the recycling stream, some of the rules change about how they should be handled. So first of all, to understand, all recycling that goes in the bin should be clean and dry. That means free of any residue, food or drink or otherwise. Now, a pizza box with cheese on it, you want to scrape off or cut out. A grease stain, not a problem. Don't worry about that. That can go in. Yep.
So this is huge news to me, because I thought pizza boxes were not recyclable.
They are now.
So this is a big change.
It is. They realized that corrugated cardboard is far more valuable than worrying about whether there's a grease stain on it.
So grease stains are okay, wads of cheese not okay.
No, if it's not going to come off, cut it out and put the rest of the box in there.
This is so exciting.
Yes.
This is exciting. I should not get as excited about recycling as I do, but that's why we're doing this show.
Yes, and I appreciate your enthusiasm tremendously, please.
That's big. Okay.
Plastics 1 through 7 are accepted in recycling bin.
Okay.
The Vermont state law bans number 1 and number 2 from the landfill. So, but the haulers usually take in 1 through 7.
So in other words, if you have a trash service at your home, they will take 1 through 7.
As will the transfer stations.
Okay, so who doesn't take 1?
I don't know, but they're not required to take 1 through 7. They just do as an industry practice.
I see.
Zero waste. We're zero waste. Single stream recycling is what it's called.
Okay.
Initially, when that was done, they were doing it because they thought they would have markets. But quite frankly, there's really not markets for all of the types of plastic that they are taking. Some of it is actually turned into biofuel, burned down, or incinerated or landfilled in the end.
Okay.
Right now, only 1s, 2s, and 5s are there markets for right now.
Okay, so
3s, 4s, and 6s and 7s, there really isn't any market for right now. Some of it just doesn't even recycle very well. It breaks down too much. You can't put it into anything else. So.
But the benefit is still having it collected and disposed of separately from the landfills.
Yeah, because they can turn it into something else. They can, as I said, they can incinerate it for energy because if they want to. But it's kept.
So it's still
it doesn't
useful to recycle anything between 1 and 7.
Yes.
Okay.
Also, tin and aluminum containers. That means not scrap metal, but tin and aluminum food containers.
Right.
Things that you have.
Aluminum foil.
Yes.
Or those disposable.
Yeah, this is a Chipotle lid to a takeout container.
Okay.
If you crumble it up along with others so it gets to be a 2-inch ball, then it meets the minimum size to go in a recycling bin.
I'm going to jump ahead here because that's one of my questions.
Okay.
So I have a piece of, who doesn't carry around their recycling with them? But, so this is the top of like a yogurt container, a big yogurt container. So I throw this in my recycling bin and I think I've done the job, but I haven't because it doesn't meet the 2-inch.
Yeah,
so
and you also got to make sure it doesn't have, that one's good. Some of them have coating on them, like another layer of plastic, and then that's not.
So I have to build a 2-inch ball before I can recycle it.
Yeah, just park it on your counter, and then I just add things to it over time as I get little pieces. Yeah.
So that's, and I always feel so bad when I realize that I've done something that isn't,
Well, some of that will be picked up by a magnet, possibly, when it goes through the conveyor belt, so don't worry too much about it. But it actually does, it gets sorted better. It needs to be at least 2 inches so it doesn't fall between the screens.
Because of the machine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we learned something.
Yes. Glass jars and bottles.
Okay.
Take the lid off, because it's not glass, okay?
Right.
And if it's under 2 inches, throw it away.
Okay.
All right. Unless you want to know it's a metal lid, it's fully metal, you can put it in a tin can.
Right.
With other, like, bottle tops from carbonated sodas, beers, that sort of thing, and stick it in a tin can and then crimp it closed so that it doesn't come
that
loose. And then
it doesn't
it'll
fall
be,
out
yeah,
during
it'll
the
be crushed
process.
down with the rest of the metal. So it'll be,
Now, what about like decorative glass, like from candles or something like that?
no, not the same kind. They don't want that in there.
No recycle
No.
of that.
No, they don't want windows, vases, really.
So glass isn't glass.
They just want glass food containers, yeah. They don't want all different other kinds of glass. You know, they don't want you to bring in your glass lamp, you know, that had
Right.
gumballs in it or something, you know.
Okay.
Yep. Let's see, what else? Mixed paper.
Paper.
So that's copy paper, that's magazines, that's mailers. Any type of paper.
So it doesn't matter if it's glossy.
Yeah, magazine's okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because it seems like a lot of the marketing junk mail you get is, you know, like glossy paper.
It comes in with the regular copy paper, yeah.
Yeah, and so I wonder about that. But my next question is, does that also have to meet the 2-inch size?
Yes. So what I've talked to you about before camera here is if you get an envelope that you don't have a need for anymore, put all your little pieces of paper in the manila envelope or a smaller envelope, doesn't matter. And then when you've got it, you know, getting ready to put it out for the week or take it to the transfer station, lick it shut, seal it. You can pull the metal tab off that's on this one and recycle it because it'll go in with the rest of it. Yeah.
So I noticed on one of my Post-it note things, it says Post-it notes are recyclable. So, you know, I'm throwing them in the recycling bin under my desk, but it has to.
Yeah, it really needs to be at least 2 inches or put it in the envelope. Yeah, that works best. Definitely. And, you know, there always gets to be a question this time of year about gift wrap.
Yes.
And
I've wondered that.
check with your hauler because every hauler is different. I don't want to make any generalization. Gift wrap, if it's heavily coated, is not recyclable. If it's got sparkles on it, if it has any mylar type of look to it, a lot of these embellished gift wraps are not.
Okay.
But if you're, you know, really thinking environmentally sound, you don't use gift wrap. You come up with other ideas.
Yeah.
And, you know, like I've got, you know, keep my eye out for dish towels as wrapping paper, and I wrap up, you know, gifts together and use some reusable ribbon if I want, and send it that way. That way they have the dish towel to use as well as the gift that's inside.
Nice, nice. Way back when I had a lot of time on my hands, I used to use brown paper bags from the grocery store, and I would save them, and that's what I would wrap my gifts in.
Yeah. And you get, if you got kids around, have them decorate.
Yeah, that's what I would do. So, but that's interesting. So all of those things, now let's see, we haven't gotten to cardboard and box board. So what's the difference between cardboard and box board?
Cardboard is like flat chipboard.
Corrugated.
Think of the bottom of this here.
Yeah.
That's chipboard, that is cardboard.
Okay.
So cereal boxes,
Okay.
same kind of thing.
Cracker boxes.
Cracker boxes, yeah, product boxes, that's cardboard. And then you have corrugated cardboard, which is the reinforced wall that's got that wavy line through the middle of it when you look at it from the side.
And that's box board?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that is real valuable commodity that the recycling stream needs. That's why that pizza box goes in, even if you've got just a grease stain on it.
The pizza box is, my mind is blown by that.
Yeah.
It's really surprising to me.
Yeah.
Because I remember everybody saying, well, did you know that pizza boxes were not recyclable? And, you know, and then everybody now shifted. Or what I was doing was taking the top of the box and recycling that because it didn't have any grease on it and throwing out
Good
the
for
bottom
you. That's
part.
good. And that's something that's just really come around the last year or so. Because when I started this, you know, 2.5 years ago in this position, they were saying, oh, absolutely no pizza boxes. I thought, well, why not? Can't you get, you know, some of it? And then it's changed.
They realized once they...
Yeah. I mean, it's an ever ebb and flow. They're going to try and make the highest and best use of the materials they get. So, like, here's another one. You got, this is something that Amazon's just starting to come out with, a recyclable mailer. Rather than using the plastic, it's all made out of paper. It has these little paper dots inside. If you tear it off the inside, it's like a cellulose. And it's got so little amount of cellulose in there, or whatever it is, the padding, it's recyclable. So you can put this in, in your recycling bin along with, as if it were a paper bag or something.
So this is a huge piece, is the manufacturers actually getting in on it and instructing you as to what to do with it. I'm noticing that more and more.
Yeah.
So the people in your industry have been doing a really good job at talking to the manufacturers, because it's really coming out and being more direction and more information on the packaging. I'm noticing.
Yeah, and a lot of it is also industry specific, but also they have, like, you see the chasing arrows. I don't know if you've heard, in California, they've put a ban on having companies put it on packaging without a determination as to how it is actually to be recycled. Otherwise, it's just aspirational. If you just put chasing arrow triangle on there saying, oh, it's recyclable, but if you can't tell them how it is to be recycled and there's an actual outlet to recycle, then it really isn't recyclable. So that's what they're trying to do. Here's an example of the recycling, howtorecycle.info moniker that you're seeing on more and more packaging nowadays that helps people understand just how to recycle properly, whether it goes in the bin or it goes back to a grocery store or some other means by which, and it'll have a line through it if it isn't recyclable whatsoever. So, you know, other things that you need to keep in mind that is part of recycling, you've got plastic, right? And everyone thinks, well, this is great, but black plastic isn't recyclable, at least not in Vermont, because even though it may be a material that is 1 or 2 or 5, they think the pigment is too deep to work with. It contaminates the colorability of the feedstock if you get a lot of it in there.
But why can't they just make more black plastic with it?
Well, that means it has to sort it out, and they don't have a means by which to just sort by color.
They would have to have all
black go in one area, But the top is, because the top, I think, is, you know, the 1 or 2 that I saw, and you could tear that off and put that in.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay.
Same other thing here. You have a commonly used household cleaner, right? The bottle is recyclable, but this shrink wrap labeling that they're putting on them now to make it easier for them to assemble is not. It's just trash. So it's something you want to peel off and discard in the trash before you put in.
So that's not even recyclable plastic?
No. Yeah. If you look at the newer, some of the bottles will have this recycle info on it. It'll say wrapper not recyclable, bottle recyclable.
So now what about the sprayer?
The sprayer, as long as it doesn't have a metal spring in it, it's probably recyclable. This is all plastic, so it goes right in. I leave it on the bottle. Yeah.
Okay.
Same thing with plastic bottles. You can leave the caps on. Just they'll go right in because they're made of the same material.
Okay.
So they can go right in, which is
so
good.
Going back to the aluminum tray, does that have to be scrunched up into a ball, or can that stay on its own?
I scrunch it up in a ball just because it tends to hold its shape better when it's more compact, and it's easier to just, less likely to fly off and risk, you know, catches the wind.
But is there anything saying that you have to?
Well, I think typically the haulers just say put it in a ball.
Okay.
Yeah, to make it easier. You know, a lot of people see things like this, that it's plastic, and they think it's recyclable, but it's not. It's actually several layers of material, and you got a Mylar liner. It's not recyclable.
Does it say anything about recycling on that package?
No.
Okay.
So it doesn't really give you any information. Yeah, so these are the things that you have to keep in mind. Also, we want to make sure to keep the contamination down of materials that need to be clean and dry, so you don't put, you know, jam residue in a jam jar into the recycling bin.
Right.
You know, with peanut butter, I just fill it with hot water and let it soak.
Yeah.
You know, and then I pour a little of the water off, put the cap on, and shake vigorously, and all the peanut butter usually comes off. So it's not a big deal. It's usually pretty good.
Yeah.
Do you have any other questions?
I do. I do, because everybody walks around with all their recycling questions. So Kleenex boxes. You know, I always rip it apart and flatten it and put it in there. And I suddenly realized that it's got plastic in it. And I thought, am I supposed to be taking this plastic out before I recycle it?
You can pull it out. It's not going to contaminate an entire load if it's left in there, just like the little cellophane windows and envelopes. They can stay in.
So it's not a big deal.
It's not a big deal,
But if we were getting technical, I should.
Yeah, if you want to be a purist about it, go ahead. I do. I pull them out, you know.
All right, so this is another one. I would look at this in the grocery store and think, okay, this is good packaging because it's not plastic, but it's coated in wax. So I don't know if it's recyclable.
Yeah, I generally wouldn't, but you know, that's a good question you ask your hauler to see if they have, you know, if they can actually work with it, because it has a film. Some of them have like almost a plastic, sometimes wax or plastic.
Yeah. So this is a we don't know.
Yeah, I don't think I would put it in I wouldn't put it in the recycling bin. When in doubt, throw it out.
All right. We already talked about my question about this.
Yeah.
Now, this was another question, and you already answered it.
Yeah.
It's black, so I can't recycle it.
That's right.
All right. And the tops to the cans. So I have a dog that I feed, you know, dog food to, and these are the tops. So I will stick this in the can.
Yeah.
But I don't scrunch the can. I just kind of stick it in there.
Yeah, I scrunch the cans whenever I get one of those, the lid. When I put the lid in, I kind of scrunch the can a little bit so it doesn't fall out.
Because this would not meet the 2-inch.
Right. It might not. It's got to be 2 inches. Yeah, I would stick it in, several of them in one can and scrunch them, or just as you're doing it each time.
Okay. What else? Oh, pill bottles.
Yeah, as long as it's at least 2 inches
So
high.
this is the other thing. Do we have to have, like at the airport, what they have is the little, you know, your bag has to fit in here in order to
Well,
go in your
most of the pill bottles are that length, so that's at least 2 inches. You're okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the color doesn't matter.
No.
Okay.
As long as it's not black.
All right. I think we're getting close to our time, but I have one more question. This is the dog food bag. Is this dog food bag recyclable? It says 7 on it.
No.
Why?
Because there isn't a market for 7 to begin with, and it doesn't fall under the plastic film recycling program because that's only 2 and 4, and they only want no pet food in their plastic film, no pet food bags.
Why does it say 7? Because as a consumer, it makes me assume that this could be recycled, and we recycle everything from 1 to 7. Mm-hmm. So that's just, I no mean to put you on the spot,
it's
Paula, but these are
aspirational.
the kinds of things that I go
Yeah.
through in my mind, because I was like, okay, it's a 7, we recycle 7s, but
Yeah, you can throw it in there, but it's gonna go into the trash. I mean,
Okay.
there's not a commodity. There's no commodity market for that. So unfortunately.
all right. All right.
Unless there's some, you know, little person that wants to make like tote bags out of them or
Yes, I've
something.
seen them do that.
Like the feed bags.
I've
Those are
seen
those.
them do that.
Yeah.
So I think that we probably reached the end of our time for this segment, and you know that I could go on about what you can recycle and what you can't recycle forever. But I'm sure that we will pick up on some other interesting topics in our next segment.